the permanency of marriage, whether you get separated or divorced, marriage is still permanent. The man and the woman come before the judge, or the clergyman. They say, Jack, do you take Jill, whom you now hold by the hand, as your true and lawful wife, and God helping you, you will love, cherish, honor, and protect her, cleaving only and ever unto her, until death do you part. And likewise, Jill makes a vow. Do you, Jill, take Jack, whom you now hold by the hand, as your true and lawful husband, and God helping you, you will love, cherish, honor, and obey him, cleaving only and ever unto him until God by death shall separate you. So the two make the vows. They make it before the one conducting the service, before witnesses, and most importantly, before God. And God makes them one flesh, and makes a one flesh marriage bond, which can only be broken by death. God supernaturally makes them one flesh. They have entered into a marriage covenant. No action of man can void the one flesh marriage covenant principle. No man, no woman, no judge, no court, nothing. No one but God. He and only he can break that. Adam said, now this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. What is about that word cleave? It's a Hebrew word. Strong's 1692, meaning cleave, to adhere, to abide, to fast, to cleave, to follow close. Get the idea? Jesus, same principle. New Testament. And he answered and said unto them, have you not read, which made them at the beginning, made them male and female? For this cause the man shall leave his father and mother, shall cleave unto his wife. And in Mark he says, from the beginning God created them male and female. And for this cause shall the man leave his father and mother, and cleave to his wife. The twain shall be one flesh. So they are no more twain, but one flesh. What God has joined together, let not man put asunder. What about that word cleave? Greek. Strong's Concordance 4347. They are glued to, that is, they adhere, they cleave, they're joined. Passive voice. Action is being done to the couple. They're being joined by God. Symbolized here in the picture as the cord that can't be broken. It's still connected. God connects those two. Well, the guy gets tired of her and he says, shoot, I'm going to go run off with Sally instead of Jill. And they go to some court somewhere, in front of some clergy, some church, and they make their vows. What does God say about that? Whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, we'll get to that in a little bit, shall marry another, committeth adultery. Well, why is that? Because he's violating the one flesh covenant marriage. Here we are in Mark 10. Whosoever shall put away his wife and marrieth another, committeth adultery against her. Pretty simple, huh? And if she put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery. Well, why is that? They committed adultery. He commits adultery against her, his original covenant wife, because he's still her husband. Whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another commit adultery, and whosoever marry her that's put away from her husband committeth adultery. Whosoever putteth away his wife and marrieth another committeth adultery. We call it a second marriage. Oh, a blessed union. Oh, yes, may God sanctify this. But he can't. He calls it adultery. It violates his words. It violates his principle of the one flesh marriage covenant bond. Till death do us part. Well, Jill gets tired of Jack, and she moves on, and she finds Mr. Right, and, well, they fall in love, and they make their vows before court, or before the clergy, or the justice of the peace. What does God have to say about that? Unto the married, yet not I, but the Lord. Let the wife not depart from her husband. But, and if she depart, let her remain either unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. So those are her options. Remain unmarried or be reconciled. The wife is bound by the law as long as her husband liveth. But if her husband be dead, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, but only in the Lord. But if her husband be dead, for the wife which hath a husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from that law. Further down it says, she is free from that law. so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. If her husband be dead, she's loosed. If her husband be dead, she's free. So she calls it a blessed, oh, she finally found Mr. Right. What does God call it? He calls it adultery. Why is that? Because it violates the one flesh marriage covenant. It violates the covenant that she made with her original husband, that God said was in effect until death do us part. Well, what happens? They split. They go their own ways. Yeah, baby, I know it didn't work out. Yeah, honey, I know it didn't work out. So the two, they meet somebody that makes them happy. What does God call those second marriages? Adultery. He calls them adultery. Why does he call them adultery? Because it's violating his one flesh marriage covenant bond, which can only be broken by death. Whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. Whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. Well, what is he talking about in Matthew 5:32? The specific words in Hebrew Romanized in the Greek is logos porneia. It's a report of fornication. It's talking about the betrothal period in the Jewish betrothal custom, both in Matthew 5:32 and Matthew 19:9. These are different words. Sexual sin. It's not saying because she committed adultery, you're now allowed to remarry. She violated the covenant while they were espoused to be married. She said that she would be faithful to him. We're familiar with Malachi. The Lord has been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth. This applies to all marriages, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. Yet she is the wife of thy companion. You say, oh, well, it doesn't apply to unbelievers. Well, here's dozens of examples in the Bible where unbelievers, their marriages, are counted worthy. There's Augustine. The woman will, in origin, just as a woman is an adulteress, even though she seemed to be married to another man while her former husband liveth. But according to the declaration of our Savior, he commits adultery with her. And by the way, God did not nail a free pass from the sin of adultery